It has been nearly 17 years since the Concorde flew from New York to London in the last commercial supersonic passenger flight. Now, one company that aims to produce Concorde's successor is about to get one step closer to reviving supersonic passenger travel. Here is what you need to know. Aviation startup Boom Supersonic will unveil its XB-1 prototype in October, and test flights will begin in 2021. Touted by the company as history's fastest privately developed aircraft, the XB-1 will have only one pilot, a delta wing, and a trijet layout. The XB-1 is one-third the size of the Overture, the 55-seat supersonic airliner Boom hopes to build. According to the company, the Overture will fly at Mach 2.2, more than twice the speed of sound. A flight from Tokyo to Seattle would take 4.5 hours instead of the usual 8.5 hours for a regular non-stop flight. Renders show that, like Concorde, the Overture will feature a long, slim design and premium seating in a 1-to-1 configuration. Unlike Concorde, it will sport oversized passenger windows. Compared to Concorde, Boom claims its 3 medium bypass engines will be quieter and cleaner and won't require afterburners. TechCrunch reports that Boom will use sustainable jet fuel and carbon offsets to reduce the plane's carbon footprint. The Overture will be priced at $200 million. AP reports that Boom had secured pre-orders worth $6 billion before the coronavirus pandemic. Buyers include Virgin Group and Japan Airlines, which invested $10 million in the company in 2017. Keep your fingers crossed, though, because we've heard this before. A new airliner that boasts supersonic speeds is set to revolutionize air travel once it takes flight in 2023. Boom Technologies' planned supersonic aircraft will have a cruise speed of 1,451 miles per hour, 2.6 times faster than any other airliner. While a flight from New York to London would typically take 7 hours on a commercial flight, the trip would take a little over 3 hours on a supersonic airliner. The Mach 2.2 aircraft will have 55 seats, each priced at about $5,000 for a round-trip ticket. A one-third scale prototype called the XB-1 will begin test flights in 2018 to demonstrate and refine the key technologies required for supersonic travel. Unlike the now retired Concorde and its notoriously loud sonic boom, the Boom aircraft will have turbofans for noise reduction and won't be much louder than a normal plane. The company does have some hurdles to face before their project comes to fruition. Supersonic flights are still banned in the US, but with federal laws currently set up for renegotiation, that could soon change. NASA says it has cleared the final assembly of Lockheed Martin's quiet supersonic jet prototype. Lockheed Martin says that X-59 aircraft will be a model for quiet, faster-than-sound passenger jets. According to NASA, the corporation's Sunk Works factory is building the X-59s under a $247.5 million contract. According to the agency, officials will meet late next year to approve the jet's first flight scheduled for 2021. Lockheed Martin states that the X-59 will be able to cruise at an altitude of 55,000 feet and achieve an airspeed of 940 miles per hour. The corporation claims that technology derived from the jet will cut air travel time by half. According to NASA, the X-59's shape is specially designed to mitigate sonic boom by reducing the noise that reaches the ground. Lockheed Martin says that the airplane makes 75 perceived level decibels, or about as loud as a closing car door. According to NASA, the jet will feature cameras and sensors that allow safe flying without a forward-facing window. NASA says the finished jet will fly over select U.S. communities to create instrument readings and to measure the public's opinion.
U.S. aircraft maker Arion has launched a joint engine study with GE Aviation for a supersonic jet that aims to cut flight times between London and New York to just over 4 hours. The Arion AS-2 plane has a relatively short wingspan and a long fuselage, similar to the design of supersonic fighter jets. The plane's thin wings vastly reduce friction drag when compared to traditional aircraft wings. The AS-2 can reach speeds of Mach 1.5, which is 1.5 times the speed of sound. The supersonic speed means the AS-2 could travel from London to New York in just 4 hours and 24 minutes. Private jet company FlexJet made the first purchase of the AS-2 when it ordered 20 of the aircraft in 2015. Arion hopes to launch the AS-2 next year, with its first flight scheduled for 2023. The CEO of Boeing said at the Paris Air Show that commercial hypersonic jets will become a reality in the next decade or two, which will drastically cut down on current air travel times. Hypersonic generally refers to speeds of Mach 5 and above, which is faster than supersonic and more than 5 times faster than transonic speeds. A hypersonic jet can travel from New York to Shanghai in just 2 hours, whereas a conventional commercial flight usually takes around 15 hours. However, objects traveling at hypersonic speed have to withstand surface temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees Celsius, enough to melt aluminum and titanium. The two elements are common materials used in current aircraft construction. Sonic booms created by flights traveling at hypersonic speeds would also generate a noise on the ground that can permanently damage human ears. Despite the failure of the Concorde and skepticism over ultra-fast airliners, some companies have made continuous efforts to try to turn supersonic travel into a reality. Boom Technology is developing a 55-seat supersonic jet that it hopes will be in service by next decade. Lockheed Martin is also developing the quiet supersonic technology X-plane that it hopes will eliminate the problem of sonic booms. Researchers from Britain and China have developed a ceramic material that could be used as a coating for hypersonic planes, allowing them to withstand the extreme temperatures generated by flying at hypersonic speed. Objects traveling at hypersonic speed have to withstand surface temperatures of up to 3,000 degrees Celsius, which is enough to melt materials commonly used in current aircraft construction. The ablation-resistant carbide is made by densifying a carbon fiber preform using chemical vapor infiltration. The preform is a reaction melt that is infiltrated to create a carbide composite. It is then further densified by chemical vapor infiltration. The surface area of the carbide is comprised of up to 75% ceramic and 25% carbon, which is dense enough to act as a barrier to resist oxidation and extreme heat. Existing ultra-high temperature ceramics, such as zirconium carbide, is commercially used in tool bits for cutting tools. Researchers say the new carbide coating is 12 times more effective than existing ones. Boeing says commercial hypersonic jets will become a reality in the next decade or two, which will drastically cut down on current air travel times. Other companies such as Boom Technology and Lockheed Martin are also developing supersonic jets, which they hope will be in service within a decade. Scientists in the Netherlands are working at the country's aerospace center to develop circular airport runways. Researchers at the Endless Runway, a project funded by the European Commission, believe circular runways could have several benefits, including being more environmentally friendly and less noisy. The group proposes constructing a 3.5-kilometer wide circular runway with banked sides, divided into 18 runway segments, with the airport terminal in the center of the circle. The length of the circular runway would be equal to 3 straight runways, while being able to handle the air traffic of 4. Circular runways would allow planes to land and take off at any point in the circle. Pilots would be able to land in directions with the most favorable weather conditions, while avoiding difficult maneuvers in situations such as strong crosswinds. The circular design would also mean aircraft coming into land circle the airport fewer times, thus using less fuel. The design allows for 3 planes to land and take off at the same time. Because of centrifugal forces, planes would automatically go slower and move toward the center of the runway. Circular runways could also limit noise pollution by spreading it more evenly around the airport. The U.S. military conducted tests in the 1960s with circular runways, but commercial circular runways have never been built.
Ever thought of air travel in terms of reusable shipping containers? If what a bunch of researchers are doing in Switzerland is anything to go by, that concept might just fly. Developed at the Federal Polytechnic Institute, the pod planes concept could one day allow passengers to board at rail stations. These pods each measure 30 meters in length. After being ferried to the airport, the pod would join others under a giant 60-meter wing. This modular concept aircraft is one of several developed by Swiss researchers called Clip Air. According to CNN, its speed and range would be around the same as most mid-sized commercial aircraft. How would you enjoy seeing the world like the passengers of the Hindenburg? Maybe that wasn't the best example. The world's largest aircraft, the Airlander 10, made by Hybrid Air Vehicles, is set to be tested by travel company Henry Cookson Adventures to take tourists on exotic trips around the world. The aircraft is powered by four 325-horsepower turbocharged diesel engines and uses aerodynamic lift like a fixed-wing aircraft to take off. Helium keeps the Airlander in the air. The airship can carry payloads of up to 10,000 kilograms and stay in the air for 5 days at a time with the crew. It also doesn't require a runway. The passenger version of the Airlander 10 is expected to be able to cruise at 80 knots at an altitude of up to 20,000 feet. The Airlander 10 is currently still in its test flight phase and looking to gain airworthiness certification.
A new mega-sized airport being built in China could shift the balance of power in the country's airline industry. Beijing's new six-pier, radial-shaped airport will cover an area of 313,000 square meters. The airport is being built in an area that overlaps Daxing District in Beijing and Guanyang District of Langfang, Hebei Province. The airport will serve Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei. Flag carrier Air China dominates the current Beijing airport. Its regional rivals, China Eastern Airlines, control Shanghai, while China Southern Airlines hold Guangzhou. The new airport will allow China Eastern and China Southern a 40% share of passengers each, which may encourage the two provincial airlines to open lucrative new North American routes. It's estimated that the current Beijing Capital International Airport and the new airport will handle a combined annual total of 170 million passengers with their 7 runways by 2025. However, experts worry that because only about 20% of the airspace of China is open to civilian flights, the expansion will result in extremely heavy air traffic. China is not only a world leader in airport size, but also in flight delays. Its 3 biggest airlines were ranked the least punctual of the world's major carriers last year. Hyperloop One has signed an agreement with Dubai's Roads and Transport Authority to build the world's first Hyperloop system. Hyperloop One's system will connect Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Its stations, called hyperportals, will be located in the city centers. Passengers will travel in pods, which come in 4 different configurations: cargo, coach, meeting, and lounge. The pods will pick up passengers at gates and travel autonomously to an underground level. There, they will be loaded inside a transporter capsule. Each transporter capsule will carry 4 pods. The capsules will be propelled by compressed air, using magnetic levitation which eliminates friction, inside a tube kept at a near vacuum to eliminate air resistance. They can travel at a speed of up to 1,200 kilometers per hour. The Hyperloop will reduce what's now a 2-hour car trip between Abu Dhabi and Dubai to just 12 minutes. Hyperloop One said passengers inside the pods will not feel any discomfort, despite the extreme speeds. The capsules will stop at the hyperportal upon arrival, while the autonomous pods can either stop at the gates or continue beyond the hyperportal to take passengers to their destinations in the city. Hyperloop One said in a press release that the infrastructure does not have to work with the pods alone. It could also work with other self-driving vehicles. Airbus has released a new concept called Transpose, which may allow travelers to enjoy dining in restaurants or even go to the gym while flying. The new concept makes use of existing cargo planes and their large doors and reinforced floor rails. The plane interiors are built in modular sections. These sections can include a gym and even a play zone for children. The modular sections can easily be loaded onto the cargo plane. Once in the plane, they are securely latched to the floor. Different interior spaces can be swapped. For example, sleeping compartments for red-eye flights can be exchanged for a coffee shop and seating for short daytime flights. Airbus has already recruited engineers and designers to work on a demonstration module in a full-size plane mock-up. The company says the concept could be fully realized in just a few years.
America's top scientists are working on a plane that can fly from LA to the Big Apple in just a few hours. Lockheed Martin and NASA have partnered up to develop a quiet supersonic plane named the X-59. The proposed single-pilot craft has a wingspan of 29.5 feet, is 94 feet long, and weighs 32,300 pounds. at total fuel capacity. NASA says the X-59 will be powered by a General Electric F414 engine. This is the same engine used by the FA-18EF fighter jets. The craft's hull is designed to abate the noise from shockwaves traditionally associated with Mach speed travel. During that, shockwaves come together and create loud sonic booms. The space agency says the X-59 is designed to separate these shockwaves, resulting in much less noise reaching the ground. The aircraft's first flight test is scheduled for 2021.
Google is famously known for these babies, but they're not the only company that allows workers to sleep at work. With the London Olympics approaching back in 2012, one local English company anticipated that heavy traffic would affect employees' commutes. So the company built sleeping pods that allowed employees to sleep in the office with privacy. These sleeping pods included a single mattress, while more advanced models also featured a stereo and a mirror. And now people can also choose to sleep with some privacy and dignity at airports instead of sprawling across several seats in front of gawking onlookers. Abu Dhabi International Airport was the first airport in the world to offer sleeping pods in 2013, although the service has since extended to many other airports worldwide, from Dallas-Fort Worth to London Gatwick. Abu Dhabi's Go Sleep sleeping pods allow users to lie completely flat. Each pod is able to partly or fully block out sounds in the busy airport, depending on the user's preference. Later stage pods will offer Wi-Fi access, power sockets for charging electronic devices, and space to store luggage under the cushion. The Go Sleep sleeping pods can be rented out for about $12 an hour, or about the price of 3 coffees. As we grow more aware of the myriad of health issues that come with sleep deprivation, sleeping pods seem increasingly desirable.
If you're going to travel in the cargo hold, you may as well go in style. Airbus has announced plans with Zodiac Aerospace to develop modular compartments that are easily interchangeable with cargo containers in their A330 widebody planes by 2020. The spaces will be separate from the economy and business class seating areas. Passengers will be able to book sleeping compartments, meeting rooms, lounges, and children's play areas. Each of the areas fits inside a container that can be inserted into the cargo hold like traditional cargo. Pods could be removed and changed in about a day. Depending on the model of the A330, 3 or 4 cabins could fit into an aircraft. Like it up there? Keep watching.
Airbus plane engine falls apart over the Atlantic. An Air France flight en route from Paris to Los Angeles was forced to make a slight detour when one of its engines disintegrated over the Atlantic on Saturday. The Airbus A380 was just east of Greenland carrying 496 passengers and 24 crew members when one of its engines experienced a serious failure. According to passengers, there was a loud boom and then a lot of shaking. Luckily, the fast-acting pilots quickly shut the engine down and were able to stabilize the plane in under 30 seconds. The plane flew for about an hour on 3 engines before arriving at Goose Bay Airport in eastern Canada. 2 777s were eventually sent from Montreal to pick up the passengers and take them the rest of the way to LA. The cause of the engine failure is still unknown and currently being investigated.
Flying drone taxi takes off. Drones are everywhere these days, and soon, flying drone taxis might be too. At the end of January, Airbus Silicon Valley carried out their first successful test of their autonomous aircraft. The all-electric drone flew at a height of 16 feet for 53 seconds by itself. According to Engadget, Airbus hopes to create a network of autonomous flying drones. The Verge reports that Airbus aims to create a production-ready drone by 2020. Would you ride one?
And the winner is Boeing. Development of the next generation of presidential aircraft has begun. The U.S. Air Force has purchased 2 Boeing 747H jetliners as part of their plan to develop a new Air Force One aircraft. The planes were previously ordered by Transaero, a now defunct Russian airline. Under the contract, Boeing will design modifications for the 747-8s. These will reportedly include an executive interior, meeting rooms, medical facilities, and other features of the current presidential aircraft. The design will also need to have defensive countermeasures, including a hardened exterior capable of withstanding an electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear explosion. The Air Force reportedly plans to spend around $3.2 billion on this project, and if all goes to plan, the jetliners could be in the air by 2022 or 2024.
Passenger tries to open aircraft door mid-flight. The friendly skies. An American Airlines passenger aboard a plane from Los Angeles to Minneapolis on Saturday attempted to open the exit door during the flight. According to passengers, a man wearing sunglasses tried to grab the handle of the door after the pilot announced the aircraft was descending. What some people thought was a fist fight actually turned out to be other passengers rushing in to stop the man from opening the door. While the passengers were subduing the suspect, the flight attendants then rushed in to help. Once the man was finally subdued and seated, the pilot told everyone to fasten their seatbelts for a quick landing. After the flight was on the ground, several officers escorted the man off the plane. The investigation has since been turned over to the FBI. Authorities have yet to release the man's name or say if he will face any charges.
The zero-emission hypersonic transport would have a short pressurized cabin in the front, with room for up to 100 passengers. It would be powered by conventional jet engines, rocket engines, and ramjets. Using conventional jet engines during takeoff would make the zero-emission hypersonic transport no louder than an ordinary passenger jet. Rocket boosters would push the plane to higher altitudes, where faster speeds are easier to achieve and the plane could not be heard from the ground. Supersonic ramjets would then take over and push the plane to a cruising speed of more than 3,000 miles per hour. The plane would have a cruising altitude of 20 miles, compared to 11 miles for the Concorde and 6 miles for a Boeing 747. It would switch back to its conventional jet engines before landing.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.